Hello. It is time.
The time has come.
Season 4. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, girl. We are breaking our silence.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Let's not waste
get into
time.
it.
Roll the clip. Roll the clip. Hey everyone, welcome back to Filmme Talk, a podcast where two gals talk film, television, and everything in between the reels. I'm your host, Eliana Melendez, and I'm joined here by my very on-theme and upstaging co-host, Josie Melendez. And we are here to talk about Stranger Things Season 4. Finally, the latest season, the penultimate season, and our TA RARA La COSA season finale.
Yes, my cheeks hurt from smiling so hard. But this is a long time coming. We watched season 4. We liked it. We were like, let's do this. Let's talk about it.
Without season 4, we would not have done this series. Quite honestly.
Well, who knows? You never know. But we are gearing up for season 5. And what better time to do this than now? And, happy Stranger Things Day.
Happy Stranger Things Day. Which apparently, we're recording this obviously before Stranger Things Day. Apparently there's going to be some news for the last season on Stranger Things Day. So be sure to follow us on social media for all of that. So season 4, bigger, better, badder? Question mark? We loved it. We loved it. Yeah. But I think we've been we have been extremely glowing in our reviews, rewatching the first 3 seasons. And then I think, I don't know, I feel like season 4, as good as it is, it kind of just, it's like taking the cape off the princess. Here's your princess now. Is this your princess? I don't know the quote, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Is this your king?
Is this your king? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Season 4 was good until episode 7.
Yeah.
Episodes 8 and 9. What happened? What happened?
What were you smoking?
What was the reason?
What was the reason?
What was the reason?
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason? What was the reason?
Okay, let's have a little bit of order. How did Dr. Brenner survive? Let's just get that out of the way. We saw him. We rewatched. We saw it. We didn't see a body, but that was a full-on attack from a Demogorgon.
I think after Jim Hopper surviving being literally eviscerated from a cosmic explosion, I guess they were like, all bets are off. But Jesus Christ.
We didn't see him die or get eviscerated. We saw the other people get eviscerated. And the thing is that I remember when I saw season 3 for the first time, there were a lot of people conspiring like, ooh, what happened to Jim Hopper? Because obviously he has to be alive, because in that mid-credit scene we see like, no, not the American. And there were 2 options. I remember, I think it was Emergency Awesome, that was either, hey, he could have jumped into the Upside Down, and that's how he ended up in Russia. Or he got taken, like, because when the good thing about season 3 is that there's so much connective tissue. When Robin and the gang are running away from the Russians, when they see the key, like the big machine, we see stairs going down.
Right.
And then then they go down the same path that then in season 4 we see Hopper take the same path where then he's captured. So season 3 sets up Hopper's escape for us. So we know how he survives. And then we see it happen. Now, the thing is that, again, there is planning to that. With Dr. Brenner, I still can't, after rewatching, I still can't wrap my head around how. Because this is the first season I have not rewatched.
It's true.
We're still relying on our memories from when it premiered months ago in June. So
it was just a few months ago.
Yeah, but even then, I still can't. Maybe if I rewatch it, maybe there'll be something there. Maybe the Duffer brothers have already rewritten the season, because that's a thing now.
Honestly, the retconning, the actual physical like retconning, I don't know, man. It's just, even when it first remember we were doing the season 2 episode, and I was saying I completely forgotten about Dr. Owens as a character. And dude, I rewatched season 3 and I'm like, shit, Dr. Owens is like in season 3 for like a couple of seconds. But Jesus, I forgot about who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck is that? I saw him again in season 3 during the rewatch and I was like, hey, who the fuck is that is back?
Yeah, honestly. No, and you know what? I feel like I had also a similar reaction with Dr. Brenner. Not so much as who the fuck is that, but what the fuck is that? Why is he back? Why? What was the purpose? What was the reason? I understand Dr. Owens being like the main guy, but...
because he's the one taking care of them.
Exactly.
But then we see them both working together, which makes seeing that dynamic between them in season 4 made season 2 even richer.
Yeah.
Because he just walks in with all this swag, like he owns the place and like he's got things under control. And then seeing them interact was very interesting to see how that dynamic, their individual dynamics converging that's what I found interesting.
Yeah. It was just, I don't know. I think with this whole rewatch, some things that I was like, oh, that felt out of nowhere. On the first time, rewatching it all like consecutively, I was like, oh, this all makes sense. I think season 4 is the one where they really just got everything, like the random ideas out of the bag the most. It's not that they fumbled the bag, but I feel like there were too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
One of those moments, and I don't know, it's not, again, we'll get into why we love it, but it's just strange. We're back to, the grim gray and now red color palette. We've definitely we have strayed far from the path of season 3's. Yeah, season 3's beautiful Technicolor cinematography and production design, and now we're back to sludge.
Now we're getting closer to the 90s, the grunge.
True, it is 1986, but I don't know, still, it's only been a year since season 3. So it's not the worst thing in the world, obviously, but again, it's just so much is happening in season 4, and the episodes are longer.
Yes, each episode is essentially a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. Which I remember when I was doing my reactions to the season, I did a reaction per episode instead of a reaction for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're so long and there's only so much you can convey in one social media reaction and one tweet. So just did one for every episode because it's essentially each one has its own narrative plot, its own narrative structure, beginning and end, that leads into what comes next, which of course is what an episode on a TV show should be. But come on, guys, it's a whole other.
It was extended. It was season 4 is very indulgent.
Yes,
and I don't know. It gets to a point where it's almost overindulgent. It's too indulgent for its own good.
It had good ideas. The problem is sticking the landing.
Yeah.
But a bit of season 4 comps: Nightmare on Elm Street, Breakfast
For sure.
Club. We got Carrie, Silence
the Carrie
of the
moment.
Lambs. It was delicious. It was a delicious season. There was
We
a lot
still
of
had
energy.
that. We still had those references there. It was still very alive and well with the 80s. We definitely dive a lot deeper into the Dungeons and Dragons culture and era
Yeah.
of it all. I know you're waiting to pounce on this subject, but aesthetically and narratively, once again, totally, you know how each season, again, the campaign basically gives you the season's villain and all that.
Mhm.
We got that very briefly in season 3 because we still got like the Juju zombies attacking the village and blah 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 blah. But season 4 really, like, with that first episode that just really indulgently thrives in the heat of the game, of a Dungeons and Dragons game, with this whole team. And yes, we have been seeing them play Dungeons and Dragons since the first season, but they were kids. Playing Dungeons and Dragons as a kid versus playing Dungeons and Dragons as an adult with like more, more props, more enthusiasm, more intensity,
I mean,
more mature themes. It's different, and I really
their
love
dungeon master snapped.
he really snapped. He's a good dungeon
Committed.
master.
Like their whole little setup.
Yes.
The room, the
The
colors,
throne.
the table. It just felt like our babies had grown up and they had graduated into like official like Dungeons and Dragons players.
This is the big leagues. This is the D&D big leagues, and I do really, really enjoy that from season 4, especially in that pilot.
And we do see more of the love for Dungeons and Dragons in this season.
Oh yeah.
Through the dynamics and just towards the end of the season, they remind us, hey, this is a show about people that love Dungeons and Dragons, and this is like the heart of it. And they drove it home in this season.
Yeah, I think that's one of the season's biggest strengths, quite honestly, with its characters. It is the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club is really good, and I love how Dustin and Mike, though they've kind of been left alone in that aspect, which is kind of an interesting flip from season 3, where they all just kind of ditched Will with the Dungeons and Dragons aspect of their friendship dynamic. I don't know. It just feels like Mike is usually in charge in his own mind, but to have Mike kind of take a step back from being the Leo in the spotlight and just not be the DM, not be the one guiding, actually letting himself be a player for once, I think was really fun to see. I really love to see Erica continuing what we left off from season 3, having Dustin and Lucas deliver the Will's old Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yeah.
And seeing her play.
She's a substitute, which is so lovely to see. And that whole interaction with like Eddie and how they let her in the group and then she wins the game for them. It's
yes. Great. The intensity of rolling a natural 20, the intensity of like actually being able to hit, like the whole scene is filmed so joyfully that I think of all the episodes, I think not all the episodes, but of all the seasons having their first episodes, this is my favorite first episode. This is my favorite season opener, quite honestly. Yeah. Season 4 has the best opener.
So I have not rewatched season 4 in its entirety, but I have seen the pilot at least like 3 times. Right.
It's a good pilot.
Because Eddie Munson, but also it's a good pilot.
Mm-hmm. The way it ends, dude.
It reminds you of why you love the show. I think the first part of season 4, great. I think they just did not stick the landing. They're setting up season 5. It's too big, and let's just go into that direction. We immerse ourselves in the Upside Down this season. We actually get to see it. We actually get to explore it. We did see it in seasons 1 and 2, but it's totally different now. We actually like get into the grand scale. Like they explore essentially Upside Down Hawkins.
Exactly. This is like in terms of world building, though they literally do actually leave Hawkins. Like we have a team in California, another team in Russia, etc. This is the biggest geographical scale we've seen the show on. It really just focuses on world building with the Upside Down for the first time since season 1. Like this is the most world building done since season 1. And it has its advantages, it has its strengths, it does support and just re-immerse ourselves again in that alternate world and bring us back into that grimy, slimy, ooky spooky shit, which we didn't really, in terms of environment, didn't get as much in the previous seasons, since season 1. But yeah, that accompanied with the humongous lore dump that we got, it was a lot. Season 4 is overwhelming, quite honestly.
All of us in season 4 are as confused as freaking Eddie Munson when they're trying to explain everything to him, and he's like,
there's so much happening. There's just too much. It's too much. It's everything everywhere all at once. Stranger Things.
Yeah. And also just finding out like the Upside Down is stuck in time, but it's like 1983. Sorry if I got it wrong for all you people out there, but I do believe that the Upside Down is stuck in 1983. Yeah, when she had that whole interaction with one, it was 1978 if I'm not mistaken. So there's just a lot.
Dude, I don't know. Shit, they forgot Will's birthday.
Yeah.
They changed Will's birthday.
They still haven't fixed it. That's crazy. But
messy.
Yeah, no, this season, it's a season of plot holes.
Yep.
Tiene más plot holes que las calles de Puerto Rico.
It's good delivery. It's good delivery right there. So true, bestie.
Yes.
No, but it's just I don't know. It's messy. It's bumpy. It's a bumpy ride. It is fun. It is interesting. It is exciting. There is it's not as gory obviously as season 3, but it's leaning more into the body horror. It's leaning more into, like you said, Nightmare on Elm Street. And it's really good. I really love that execution of it. Again, episodes 1 through 6, I believe, were the most solid, as long as they were. My favorite episode, one of my favorite scenes is actually in episode 4, where they have that whole shootout at Will's house in California. It's like a one shot. That's some Hurt Locker shit right there.
Yes, no, that's one. I remember I wrote a review for ScreenSpec. Check it out if you haven't.
Linked.
But that was one of the things that I loved the most of this season. Especially, I gave part 1 of season 4 such a glorious grade. I gave it so much praise. And then part 2 failed me. But episode
Betrayal.
4, everyone loves episode 4, and it's for a reason. Each season has a really good episode, and that's the one for this one. Episode 4 with Dear Billy and Max and the buyer's shootout. Great.
It's a good all-around episode because you get a little bit of everything, but they complement each other. They don't try to outshine each other, which is what happens in those last 2 episodes, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, these episodes, like, I think, as well as again, like we've been saying, each season, like, evidently gets more of a budget, and they try to, like, really up the ante and really just push the boundaries of what Stranger Things is. And they were able to keep themselves a little bit more reined in with season 3, but season 4 is like off the rails. It is a much bigger scale. The stakes are a lot higher because now you have to get Joyce and Murray to fucking Russia now. We have Hopper being a prisoner, who's Hopper's alive. Like, Hopper being alive was far more believable than freaking Dr. Brenner and that whole...
Wait. Sorry, Hopper with his very attractive officer.
Listen. The guy from Game of Thrones, yeah.
Yes.
The man with no name. Oh, yeah, he can get it. That I can agree with. He can get it. But I must say, season 3 Hopper greater than season 4.
Oh, yeah. Poor man. He lost a lot of weight. He was going
through so much torture. He was scrawny. Being tortured.
The way he reacted when he got peanut butter, that's me every day. But Jesus, it's heartbreaking.
He was dreaming of breadsticks and freaking lasagna instead of sleeping with Joyce, and I'm like, I feel you, dude.
Which, speaking of, I really hope we do get Enzo's.
Yes.
Because it's the same way that when they did the parallel, Mike and Elle were going to go to the snowball, and then they couldn't, but then they go. So that's what we're hoping for here. And I really do hope we get that, because it would be so satisfying.
Yes.
Don't kill him again. You
Please,
already tried to
God,
kill him
no.
once.
It's too much. Here's
But
the thing.
sorry, going back real quick. Mike's outfit.
Bringing it back.
It's getting
Bringing
a
it back.
spotlight again. Look
Disgusting. Disgusting.
at that. He tried.
I mean, you know what? It's like the height of the 80s, like ugly fashion, because Elle's hair. Dude.
Oh my god. Decimate her. No, but I feel so bad because the entire cast was getting made fun of.
That's not their fault.
I know, but people were being very mean because they're like, oh, these people they look old and blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, people grow up. They're still in contract.
Teenagers.
We still need to finish the show, and also they don't look bad. They literally look the appropriate age for their characters.
Mm-hmm.
People
Which
need to
is
chill.
not
People are
something
mean.
See, they say that about Stranger Things, and what about Euphoria, huh? Those people are 30.
Yeah,
Well, almost 30, but still. Like, you
But
still.
yes.
The oldest Stranger Things kid is, I think, Caleb, and he's 21.
Yeah. And anyways, they're 18 to like early 20s. They're the same age as Nancy, Jonathan, and Steve were around that time when they started playing teenagers. And they
Right.
were like, Steve plays a junior. If I'm not mistaken, Nancy plays a sophomore. So
Right.
the heck.
What the heck?
They're okay.
They're
we
fine.
We used to have literal, I mean, has anyone seen Heathers? They're supposed to be high schoolers.
I mean, those people look like they pay taxes.
Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
regardless, people were making fun of Noah Schnapp too, and I'm like, leave them alone. That's
This poor-
literally
my
the
poor
style.
boy. My
It's
poor boy.
accurate.
It is accurate for the era. The
time.
80s is ugly. People were dressing and cutting their hair, especially in the late 80s. The lack of taste, dude.
But I love how Elle's dress looks like those vintage cups.
Yes. It does.
It's a good print.
Yeah.
Those cups, good print. Great print. I want a t-shirt with that print. Just a regular white t-shirt with the white
Yeah.
and purple squiggly. Well, let's bring it back. If you talk, about to grab the microphone. This is a threat. If you talk about my dead dad, the way that girl did to Elle, you too are getting a roller skate to the face.
I think that's the least she should have done. I was rooting for her. I saw this with my dad, and my dad was like, no, you have to be the better
Angela!
person. Angela's losing her. She's going to get her first rhinoplasty. Beat her ass on site. You're like, the roller skate to her face was the least that Elle could have done. Imagine if Elle had her powers, if she really went full Carrie. Just in episode 2 or 3?
I was hoping. That's why
I was hoping she would tap back in.
That's why in my social reaction, I made the Carrie comp, because I thought that's what we were going to get.
Right.
I thought she was about to snap and we were about to see a lot of blood.
We
But
did
we
not.
did it.
Which, understandable, it would have really distracted from the rest of the plot, but still.
Also, that wasn't her journey. I love the one that she did have, because she solved so many things
Oh,
that
yeah.
were left unresolved from her past. With
Mhm.
Dr. Brenner, with one, and unfortunately they also used that to cover their tracks because they created Vecna, but I don't feel like we ever really set up Vecna. We just knew that the Upside Down existed.
Exactly. At most, they set up the Rainbow Room, and that she didn't actually remember the Rainbow Room. That's been set up since season 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only setup. That she has missing time in her memory because of her trauma. That's it. That is it.
Again, it's a season on a large scale. Groups are separated. We go to different places, and it takes away from the charm of the show. Rewatching season 1, I really missed what we got in season 1 after watching. If you watch season 1 after watching season 4, it's like, oh, it's so cozy, it's so delicious, it's so warm, it's
like coming home.
fantastic. And season 4 is still exciting. but it's not the Stranger Things we know. But again, as we said in the other, I don't know if it was the other episode or this one.
Probably the other one.
Probably the other one, but you have to grow eventually. You have to evolve. You have to change. Because if not, like, yeah, your Walking Dead metaphor.
Walking Dead metaphor.
So
you
do
drag
have to
that
change.
whole show.
You do have to grow creatively, narratively. And we do see that. But since it doesn't come to a satisfying end, that's where it fails.
I think that's its biggest weak link.
I am about to throw hands with that freaking time jump we do at the end of the season.
How stupid.
We do it in season 3, but
3
it
months
makes
later.
sense.
Yeah.
It's satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't
There's
make
purpose.
sense to do. It doesn't make sense to do a time jump in season 4 because honestly, if you take away that title card, it feels like no time has passed. There is no difference. In season 3,
reason.
now I feel like I'm ranting. My ranting voice came out. But in season 3, when we do the time jump, they're packing. There's a change. There is a moment. There's a shift.
Mm-hmm. They're packing. There's a change. There's a moment. There's a shift. Getting that on a t-shirt.
See? She's the moment.
She is the moment. She's the change. She's the shift. And that is season 4. No, but
make me laugh.
No, I think what season 4, they make up for what it lacks with how I feel like we really noticed this season how much creative cinematography is actually put into the show. Even though it's not necessarily anything new, it's been something that they've been playing. They play around with camera movements since season 1, but they really were like, let's be as stylistic as possible here.
I forgot we didn't mention it, but in season 3, when Nancy and Jonathan are getting fired, that Todd, is it Todd? No,
yeah.
I can't. Tom.
Todd was the convertible guy. It was Tom.
I think his name is Tom. When he kicks, I think it was a chair or the desk, that the camera tilts.
Yeah.
That's great. They've always had that cutting edge when it comes to how they want to convey or portray the story.
Mm-hmm.
Convey it to the viewer. And this season is no different.
I think despite season 4's pitfalls narratively, they are very stylistic with the cinematography, because not only do the episodes are longer, they're movies, but they also look the most like feature films. Like each episode looks like something you'd see in a movie theater. Mm-hmm. So it really does, like, at least they do try to make the most with the increase of resources and budget that they have each season, especially in season 4. But man, I think there is a bigger dependence on CGI here that kind of takes away again from that Stranger Things charm that we tend to really love and
I love the low
search
scale.
for. Yeah, the lower scale. Season 3 is not as low scale; it's still more mid scale. But I think that is like the boundary they should have respected. Keep it more mid scale. If you want it to feel more larger than life, you don't always have to be so literal with it. You don't have to like send everybody off to different geographical secondary locations. Though yes, of course, it makes sense because season 3 ended with Joyce moving away, so sure, they're all in California, but you could have had Will, Jonathan, and 11 visit Hawkins for the summer as well. Like, it could have been vice versa.
Yeah, that's what I would have loved. But season 3, regardless of the fact that it's a little bit higher up in scale, it's still just a mall. It's still just a pool. It's still a basement. Just Hawkins. Just with, like, the huge-ass goop. Mind flayer.
Yep.
But here, the upside down, the CGI and everything, that's what kept taking me out. I remember a lot of people saying this season was the scariest, and I was like, nah, fam, it's not scary. Sure, it's disturbing. You have the body horror.
You have the body horror.
Season 1.
Wake up, Chrissy!
Yeah, and then I got so tired of that trend so quickly. But anyways.
It got old really quick. I think
People kept
everything that
showing
went viral about this season it got old very quick.
People kept showing Chrissy wake up to Joseph Quinn. I'm pretty sure he was probably like, But the first episode, it just builds up so deliciously. Again with the build up. Because you're expecting it to go crazy. I mean, it's almost an hour of an episode. But it's not until the end that you're like, oh shit. And then the entire season you're left with that anticipation. Like a Freddy Krueger film. You're like, when is he gonna show up? What's gonna happen? When is it gonna go? And it's just very deliberate with how he shows up.
I think it is well done in that aspect.
I don't think this is the scariest season.
No, by far. No. If you had to rank it by scariness, it's like season 1 and then season 3 and then season 2 and then season 4.
Mm-hmm. Season 3 had me like clutching my pearls.
I had some jump scares in season 3. I don't remember them right now, but I know there were even like some moments where I was like, Jesus Christ, and I've seen this before.
I remember just feeling very tense, especially with the hospital scene. It always gets to me.
Oh, yeah.
But season 2 with the demodogs, when they get to the facility and they start breaking the glass, that always gets to me too. Yes. But season 1 as a whole is the one that really grabs my attention from beginning to end in terms of scare. But
there's a lot of tension.
I was just more impressed.
Yes.
Than scared.
Yeah, but like the whole body horror and the bone snapping and all that. It was very impressive. There was shock value to season 4. That's the thing.
It's shock value. And there were many times like I was watching and I'm like, you could tell it was CGI, you could tell it was fake, and I'm like, I'm not saying don't make it realistic. I'm not saying
break her arms, but
but you can tell it's not real. If I were younger watching this, then I would be freaking out. But I could not suspend my disbelief.
It's just one of those things. I think, yes, we do immerse ourselves more into the Upside Down. Yes, we do get to see a really, really good character arc for 11 as a whole. I think this is 11's best season as a character.
The helicopter? Blow it down.
That was good.
Destroy it.
That was really good. Just the whole journey of going from, for the first time in her life, dealing with, I guess, the world without superpowers, and then just kind of feeling useless for the first time as well, and having to basically face herself. Sometimes you have to just face yourself. Inside joke. But yeah. I really do like, despite the whole craziness of like, really, Dr. Brenner's alive? Sure. That's grasping at straws. That's what grasping at straws looks like.
Amen.
Bringing up a bunch of dead people. Thank you. We've come full circle. But I do think that she did need to go through that journey and reliving her, like actually uncovering her trauma and basically for the first time truly actively trying to heal herself rather than just survive. Because that's what she's kind of just been doing, just pretending, just surviving as best she can and mimicking what normal human beings should do.
And then from her retconning, we get 1, aka we finally have a mastermind to the madness. We give a face to the villainy, and that's Vecna, aka 1, aka Henry Creel. We go back. I do like the time jumps that we do and how we explore different eras in this season, but where the fuck is 8? I was expecting 8 to show up in this season and she did not. I hope she shows up in season 5.
I would be really disappointed if she didn't. I really hope that she does, but I guess since the fandom fucking hates her, my hopes are not very high. But I do hope that she does show up, because I feel like that would be some. I don't know. It's just, again, this is also the first time that they lose in Stranger Things, and
they went for their Infinity Wars moment.
This is their Infinity Wars moment, and I think season 5 should be their endgame moment, and I think 11 shouldn't have to face Vecna alone. And I think having 8 with her, even if they don't have the same type of powers, I don't know. I feel like she could use all the help that she can get. You can have that endgame moment where you have all the, the kids from the Rainbow Room come back, sure. But I feel like just with 8 is enough. I think that's enough.
To close it off, Jopper. We got Jopper.
Jopper. This is
Jopper's
Jopper,
confirmed.
y'all.
They kissed. We got it. We got him, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
We got him. Finally. Freaking finally. And then nothing else. Because tragedy strikes again. I will say, I do like the prison scenes. Yeah. I do like those. Those are good. I think this season has very good set pieces.
Yes.
But I feel like they could have surrounded... You know how each season has its set piece? There was like 3 seasons in one.
Yeah.
That's what happened with season 4. They got way too ambitious. A lot of new characters. They were still good characters. We'll get into Eddie Munson in a quick second here, but...
Oh my god, I can't believe we haven't.
I know, we've gone 40 minutes without talking about Eddie Munson. It's crazy. But yeah, I think I hope that they reel it back in for season 5. And we don't get any more new characters because it's gotten out of hand. Mm-hmm. Because if you're going to keep adding new people just to kill them off or just to basically endear us and then shock us, I don't know. Again, season 3 perfected their formula. Like they perfected the formula, and then season 4 they just kind of, I don't know, I think they just read the blueprint upside down or something.
Again, my bone to pick is part 2.
The bone to pick here is part 2. Let's get into part 2.
We'll get into it. And I think the best way to talk about part 2 is Eddie Munson. Yo, what's good? What's good? What was that? What was that? You give us this character?
And you take it away from us.
You give us Master of Puppets? You gave Eddie Munson... We always do this. Yes, it happens every season. But with Eddie Munson, I think it's strictly different. I will stand by it because you do that time jump. And you just leave him there. Nobody talks about him again except Dustin to talk to his uncle and tell him like how great he was and how he sacrificed himself for a town that did not care about him or give a shit about him, and that was witch hunting him. Freaking the best line, like that whole scene where he's like, the Shire is burning, so mortar it is.
Yep.
This is a great character that we could have explored even more in season 5, and I wish we could have kept him. I thought that the dynamic, because we got like a mystery gang situation. We had Nancy, Robin, Steve, and Eddie. I thought they had such a great dynamic. I thought they had such great rapport, and they were just so good together. And I thought he blended in so nicely. He was like that nice, not juxtaposition. He was that nice convergence between the younger characters and the older characters. He brought them all together, and I really wish we could have explored that more. And
he
the way
was very much a unifying force.
Yeah, and the way that Dustin loved him, the way that he also loved Steve, and how Joseph Quinn like made him bisexual, and we just accepted it no matter what the crew says.
Take it.
It's
I will
real.
Take it. It is
the way
absolutely
he looks
real.
at Steve.
Canon.
The way he
Big
looks
boy.
at Steve. Yes.
Again, it's just Eddie Munson. Joseph Quinn as Eddie Munson is the epitome of charisma.
It's Joseph Quinn.
The charisma. That's the thing. I think what makes him, aside from everything else, what makes him different from every disposable character that we've gotten in every season is the fact that he was kind of a second Steve. He was like a variant of Steve, because Steve Harrington was supposed to have died, but people loved him so much that they kept him. This was another Steve.
So we thought that's what we're gonna... I remember being like, oh, I see what's happening. The Duffer brothers are giving us Eddie Munson so they can kill off Steve and we'll forget about it. Well, we won't. And then it's like, no, we're not killing off Steve. We're killing off Eddie Munson. We just wanted you guys to love him for a moment. And then murder.
But I think I would have been less devastated if they killed off Steve, because Steve would have had a full
I had
arc.
Eddie. I was comfortable. If Steve died, I would have mourned him. That's my son.
Eddie would have basically avenged him.
The way he avenged Chrissy. Like, Eddie was that man. Eddie was
loyal.
R.I.P.
charismatic. R.I.P. to King. An excellent dungeon master. An excellent just adventurer, because I don't know, it's like the epitome of nerds, I guess, where we love.
That's why so many people relate to him, and he said it. It's like he was an outcast. He was on the edge of society. He was being ostracized, and I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, he's this season's Barb, just more elevated, because Barb barely got a spotlight, obviously. But like when I said that I identify the most with Barb in season 1, like Barb was an outcast. Barb was most likely also queer. Like the way that we keep outcasting our queer characters, aside from Robin, it's just I don't know, I didn't find it particularly fair. And when I say fair, I don't mean in like a selfish way. It's like, oh, I want this to happen even though it doesn't make sense. Like, no, it wasn't really fair to the story. I don't know, it wasn't fair to the character. It wasn't fair to his character and to the characters around him. And if you were going to kill him off, at least complete his character arc in season 5. If he had to be on the run, let him be a fugitive. That would have been interesting as hell too.
That's such a poor excuse too, because they're like, he was already a doomed character, and I'm like,
no, he wasn't.
Just keep him going. They could have. There was a way to. I mean, freaking the Upside Down is coming up to Hawkins. There was a way to.
The town is
his
doomed.
Name. Yeah. But regardless, if I keep talking, I'm gonna be mad. But they just left his body there. That's the thing. He didn't get anything. Justice for Eddie Munson. But speaking of queer characters, just to give a nod to finally getting something with Will.
Yeah.
And with that car scene where he's crying, which was so heartbreaking. And then he has his moment with Jonathan, where Jonathan, they don't really speak much, but Jonathan understands him. So it's nice to see that we're finally confirming it's canon.
Absolutely. And again, we've been saying it in every episode. He's been teased as a queer character since the pilot from season 1, dude. So it's not that it came out of nowhere. Absolutely not. And I do like that we did try to give Robin a love interest and something to do here, but I don't know, it just felt kind of half-assed as well, because again, there's so much going on. There's so much going on at the same time that we didn't have the time to really nurture the characters like we're so used to.
It was so heartbreaking when she saw her with her boyfriend, though.
Dude.
But then...
during my Pride Month?
But then, when they're making the sandwiches together, there's hope. And Steve's staring at them like a proud father.
Yes. No, I love, again, I think seasons 3 and 4 really cemented the redemption arc for Steve as a character for me. Because, again, seasons 1 and 2, I didn't care as much for Steve. But season 3 onwards, I'm like, okay, you're a good man.
I'm like, I've been here from the beginning. I saw deep inside. I saw his soul.
Yeah, I did not care to, but I do now, and I appreciate and I respect it. And that's another thing with Nancy. As well. I think Nancy and Steve have evolved as the rich, popular kids into such rich, interesting, flawed characters. But I don't think that the answer to the end of their story is for them to end up together. I don't think they deserve each other. They both deserve someone better for both of them.
And honestly, I don't even think that's with Jonathan for Nancy. I feel like whatever lies for her, it's elsewhere. Maybe Robin. I know a lot of people want that to happen in the fandom. Let's see. But let's see. I like Robin with her love interest, not to knock down the ship. I feel like they all just need to find new people.
Yeah, I think they all just need to get out of Hawkins when the show ends.
Get out of your small town.
Get out of your small town.
Jonathan, go to NYU. What gives? Yeah, but last shout out, Argyle, aka Eduardo Franco. We finally got on a Latino on the show. Woo, finally, I swear, if we didn't get a Latino, even though they were in California, I would have screamed.
You would have scrumped, right?
I would have scrumped.
And I'm not mad because, I'm really not mad that he's a stoner. It's California in the 80s, dude. He's so charismatic.
I didn't even think twice about it. It's appropriate.
Honestly, I think I think he was just a really, really good character to have there. He doesn't have as much screen time, obviously, as Eddie Munson, I think. I could be completely wrong. Who knows? Who's keeping count? But I think Eduardo Franco still makes his mark. He really owns being that silly kind of Dumb and Dumber type character.
Yeah.
And he just owns it. And I think it's what Jonathan needed, because Jonathan is such a humdum, like
Clueless. More clueless than Mike.
Just clueless, constantly looking like he's coked up. Stupid dude. He's not even Steve is a better brother to Dustin than Jonathan is to Will. I said it.
Yeah.
It's not a controversial take.
I know.
It's sad.
It is. But
I digress.
okay, season 4. Wow. That finale sets up so much. We'll see what happens in season 5. But overall, not my favorite season. Still good. But what the heck was that finale? I've said my piece.
Messy. Just messy, messy, messy. Oh my god. Max running up that hill. I think Max should have died.
Yes.
I didn't even build up to that. I think Max should have died. I think that would have been more that would have been more fair to her than having her survive.
I don't like what they did with her.
That's
I agree.
so cruel.
Again, those last 2 parts, horrible. I don't
Cruel.
like she it's possible she might never skate again. That's sadder. Are you talking about worser fates? Like whatever they wanted to justify with Eddie Munson, that's what they're doing with Max.
Yep.
It would have been better for her as an out for a performance from her as an actress, but also for the character. I think she did what she needed to do. We'll see what they come up with for season 5. But I think she got dealt a worse fate than what could have happened if she had just passed.
And
which is
just
sad. I
didn't
love the
make
character.
sense.
It's not that I don't like the character. I just can't wrap my head around that being
No.
where she is now.
And I think she had the perfect, if she had died in season 4, I think she had the perfect journey to end it and just cap it off. And it would have been,
because she was sacrificing herself for everyone.
Exactly. It would have been just as beautifully tragic than Eddie Munson sacrificing himself.
It makes more sense for her.
Yes,
Eddie Munson
because she didn't even want
nothing.
to, like, she's been depressed and dealing with her mental health all season long. And it just would have made more sense that, you know, when she finally just kind of rises above the waters she was drowning in, then the tragedy strikes where she dies anyway, where you think that, you know, we're going to win the day once again, and you don't. We have our characters losing big time. Like, the Upside Down is now, in the real world, Hawkins is basically, in shambles. And I don't know. It's just, I can't, for the first time, really clearly have at least some sort of speculation of how the next season will go. And it makes me nervous that it's the last season, because if it's going to continue that tone,
they really need to stick the landing.
They really need to stick to landing, because then they're gonna, like, look at Game of Thrones.
I think they're scared. I think they know what's up.
The stakes are very high, because it's make or break. They could brand this show as the worst show of all time if they don't stick the landing.
Yeah, because people are already working against it. So, who was your standout this season?
Eddie Munson.
Yay!
The man, the myth, the legend. You know what? This is also the first season premiere that I saw Stranger Things as a Dungeons and Dragons player. Because the first 3 seasons, I'd never played Dungeons and Dragons. I'd never gotten into it. And then season 4 rolled around, and I saw how much love they were giving the game. And then it was really exciting for me to watch, because I actually now finally understood them at, like, a deeper level. So yeah, I think that's what makes Eddie, aside from everything else, obviously he's so charming and charismatic, I think that's what really makes Eddie stand out for me. Like, he's the one I identify with the most. He's the MVP of the season. And despite, being the epitome of a coward nerd, he still learns from Tolkien's characters and sacrifices himself to go to Mordor for the greater good. There's nothing nerdier than that.
Yeah. So, standout character, Eddie Munson.
Absolutely.
And I would say Max for the character I related to the most. I was gonna say Eddie Munson again, but I need to like diversificar.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
For me,
that's
like both of them were like this true standouts and like the characters I related to the most this season.
Yeah, I think Sadie Sink's performance this season is also like a really. We haven't been talking about stand-up performances, but her performance, turn it the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Her performance here was a bigger impact than the
she's
Whale.
Been like, but she was great in the season. I can't say anything else other than I agree with you totally. I thought the Whale did her a disservice compared to what we saw here.
I think if she's gonna win any awards, I think she should just get the Emmys or a Golden Globe or something for Stranger Things. I don't think the Whale is really. I'm not saying she was bad in the Whale, but
no, she was good. But it just
compared to what she had to work with,
one tone or one take or like I don't know how to describe it. There's
one-dimensional.
One-dimensional. There's a saying for that, but yeah, they just gave her just one. They just gave her one thing to work with, and here there was so many emotions and layers that she was dealing with. So honestly, one of the standouts, but like Eddie Munson, and then related to Max. And wow, we did it! TA RARA LA COSA.
My God. TA RARA LA COSA. What did you guys think? Did you guys enjoy rewatching, or maybe you didn't even rewatch Stranger Things? You just live vicariously through us as we've been binging 4 seasons in a month. Probably we've been doing this all month.
A month and a half.
Month and a half. Yeah. We hope that you guys enjoyed this. There was a lot of effort and love and care that went into the series. Thank you, Josie, for giving birth to the idea. Thank you, Christian Bob, for the banger of a theme that you made for us. And verdad de corazón, I'm really happy with this, and I feel like this is kind of a turning point for Film Talk and the productions that we have planned for you all. So, Josie, where can they find you?
You can find me at the Josie Marie on Twitter and Letterboxd.
And you can find me at Captain Melendez on Twitter and Letterboxd as well. And you can subscribe to Film Talk here on YouTube. Hit the notifications bell so that you are notified of every video that we upload as soon as it comes out. And if you listen to us on podcasting platforms, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else you like to listen to podcasts. Be sure to follow us there as well. And follow us on our social media. We are most active on Twitter, but we also have we also have a TikTok that we don't use, but it will be launched soon. I hope. we have some ideas for Miss Little Film Talk TikTok. But be sure to follow us at Film Talk on Twitter and let us know in the comments what is your favorite moment of season 4 of Stranger Things. Do you agree with what we've said today? What's your favorite season? We need to rank our seasons actually before we close out. What's our so far as we gear up to season 5? How do we rank the seasons of Stranger Things?
3, 1, 2, 4.
Yeah. I agree. We are in agreement. 3, 1, 2, 4. Season 3 turns it up.
I used to have season 4 at my 3rd spot, but rewatching it, I just remembered how much I love it, so it would be a disservice to put 4 on top of it.
Because like rewatching season 2.
Yeah, it sticks to landing. So
season 2 really, again.
So season 2, more love. Not saying season 4 is bad. I'm not putting it last because of that. It's just
when you have such bangers,
are better. The others are just better. That's it.
Quality over quantity, Duffer Brothers. We do not need longer episodes if they are not servicing the story or the characters. And that's about it. And that's all she wrote. Yes. Stay tuned. Be sure you subscribe and let us know in the comments what you thought. If you like the series, if you want to see us revisit other series or other films, and just kind of do a little rewind session between all the new releases coming up. Speaking, our next release to discuss is a little Marvel film there that hopefully we will be reviewing very soon.
We're also thinking of revisiting Ted Lasso, so let us know if you guys would like that.
Let us know what you're into, and what's your Stranger Things ranking? Let us know. We will be interacting over on social media. Bye.
Yes.